Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Kerfuffle showcase. Delighted here to have Mark Worrell here as well. Mark, great to see you. I apologise to you offline. I don't know why we've got this funereal black background, but I will be talking to I'm assuming it's because Liverpool got battered 7-2 on Sunday, but it's still
the beginning of the end, Simon.
It's still too soon. I don't want to talk about it. I'm still not. I'm not robust enough. I was so bad by the end of the game. I was cheering for Aston Villa because I didn't know what was going on. Mark, talk to us. Give us an overview. Give us a bit of a background here today. We're talking about fantastic title, long-term game, zero financial pain. Now that sounds like a couple of the times I've signed up to the gym and it's never ever worked. So tell me why you're going to deliver where so many fitness gyms have failed with me.
That's quite a daunting prospect, knowing you, Simon. So probably start with the title then. So the zero financial pain. We work with estate agents. What we offer is a fixed fee selling platform for homeowners. It's delivered in partnership with established high street estate agents. So the financial gain is all about opening up a new market, a part of the market that most traditional high street estate agents aren't appealing to at the moment. And the zero financial pain is because we don't have any ongoing monthly fees. It's very easy to get involved and work in partnership with us. And we're all about adding to an estate agent's business, as I say, opening up that new market so that they can appeal to the cost-conscious home sellers that want maybe more of a flexible service that most estate agents, in my experience, aren't currently appealing to.
Yeah. And why do you think they are falling short of that at the moment?
I think it's a different type of service. So a lot of estate agents that we speak to say, well, I am online, and they by that mean that they advertise their houses on Rightmove, Zoopla, or other property portals. But actually, the service that we offer is we have a platform where we put buyers and sellers in direct contact. So the customer experience with Love2Move, as with a lot of maybe better known online agencies that work with just traveling people, right, so-called property experts.
Yeah.
That buying and selling experience is all done online. So the selling a property online, in my opinion, is much different to simply advertising a property online.
And talk to us about why you perceive those differences. I mean, because you're quite right there that the public don't really get online agent, do they? You know, that's such a term that is obviously familiar with estate agents and B2B, but agents just say, well, you're all online. So how do you differentiate yourself?
So that's something that we found as a bit of a challenge, because the online term means a lot in the industry, I think, and there's a number of online estate agents that attacked, I think it's probably fair to say, the traditional independent high street agents. And then there's a lot of resentment towards that term online. But actually, to the house seller, they're selling, it's not an online, they don't view it as online. It's a different customer experience. And I think it's all about putting where the strength of our service, in my opinion, is, and this is what our clients tell us, is putting buyers and sellers in direct contact. We do that through an online portal. That makes the type of seller that we appeal to, that makes their life a lot easier. And I think clients can recognize that when they are approaching an agent. Is it an agent who is based on the high street, who is going to do all the legwork for me and charge me a percentage fee on completion? Or is it an agent who's going to come up, charge me a fixed fee up front, and it's going to be more of a light touch, and I've got to do more of that process myself? So I think the end user, which is really important for us, the end user wants one service or the other. I don't think you're going to get very many clients who just are kind of a maybe I'll use that, maybe I'll use that. We're talking big difference in fees. We're talking big difference in client experience. And I think now, as this market matures a little bit. So people have now been selling houses online for a few years. People know what they're getting themselves in for. And I think most people will associate, to go back to your original question, most people will associate a bricks and mortar high street estate agent with offering a service where they do everything, they pay them a percentage. What a lot of clients don't associate that agent with is offering an online service, which is effectively what we're able to do.
What do you think the public have learned? Where do you think they're really, I think you're absolutely right, but where do you think the public are up to in terms of what they think about kind of online estate agency at the moment?
I don't think the public necessarily think the online. So I know I talked about that experience being online. They look at a brand and a way to sell the house. But I think that is maturing. So it was always advertised as an alternative to traditional agency online, and it was always advertised as something that's very similar. You know, when you spend millions and millions of pounds of marketing, you can create a story that you can almost write your own story, which is what a lot of these online agents have done. But I think now clients have got wise to it. They know that you get what you pay for, and that's ultimately where we started with this business. We want to deliver a very good service, but for £900, it's not full service estate agency, and we won't ever term it as such. But it is an excellent service if you are wanting to have a bit more control of your process. So I think the actual end consumer is now becoming more aware that if you're selling your house online, let's say, for a fixed fee payable up front, you're going to have to do more of that process yourself. That suits some people. It doesn't suit others.
What I really like about when we spoke about this endless, before, is you were really, really keen to get across that point before. You weren't here to get cheap PR by having cheap shots at traditional estate agency, like so many went down the route of. And actually, it was really about setting the expectation level really, really clearly and precisely. That not for 1 minute do you say that at this, in this price bracket, are you going to get everything that a full service agent would do? It's positioned specifically and very clearly for a particular demographic, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the really important thing that I hope we can get across today to anyone watching or any of the agents that are involved with Kerfuffle. Is this is not about cannibalizing your existing business. The type of client that we appeal to is what we'd call them a new generation of house seller, but typically they may have sold 1 or 2 houses, but they're looking for the ability to sell their house using this. It's not. And it's not using a phone in the sense of picking it up and talking. It's a couple of clicks of a button. And I think it's probably worthwhile talking about our background as to where this business came from.
That really helps explain, doesn't it, why you have come to this quite, I would suggest quite natural position, this quite actually, middle of the road, nice position that actually you don't feel you have to come along pretending that it's some kind of massively disruptive force that all estate agents are evil. Give us your background, and that really helps set the scene, doesn't it?
Yeah, what you mean all estate agents aren't evil, Simon? The marketing's not true.
Look, it's not for me to say. I've got my little devil beard on here, but
yeah. So when we first launched Love2Move, we were asked were we tech people, what was the background, but ultimately our experience is in traditional agency. My mum was the local property solicitor. She sold that business and set up an estate agency called Moving Works, which is based in Preston, in 2000. And I've very much grown up in that business from Saturday boy at 15, giving financial advice in that business. And I was running the day-to-day operations of the office. And the office, which we're proud to say is the highest charging agent locally. We're not afraid to tell that to clients and what have you. But I could see that the market was changing. And my wife and I also went through the process of selling our house, and she felt that the process could be more straightforward. She really wanted people to, it might sound a little bit cheesy, but people wanted to love the move because the transaction is fraught with challenges. So we looked at how the market was changing, how consumer demands were changing. And back in 2017, we decided that we wanted a part of the fixed fee market, but we felt that that online piece, the part about putting people in direct contact, there was a lot of legs in that. But actually, there is also a lot of value that a traditional high street estate agent can add to that transaction. So we decided to launch Love2Move as as an addition to the Moving Works business. So we would go out and we would say to clients, we have a range of services, and then we shared it with other like-minded, forward-thinking agents up and down the country. So very much our business at Love2Move has grown out of the traditional agency, sits alongside that traditional agency that's been established for over 20 years. And a lot of the decisions that we make as a company are with our traditional agency hat on, because we still run the office. We still run the office here. We're actually above our agency branch, but having the knowledge of a traditional agent and being able to make decisions like a traditional agent, but with the online hat, I think has really stood us in good stead. Because to go back to my original point, I believe that even when you're selling a home online, you're selling what is your biggest tax-free asset. If something goes wrong, you want to be able to walk in and see someone, okay, maybe not at the moment, but walk in, see someone face to face, get some advice. And someone with the local knowledge of a high street estate agent who's been selling houses in that area for X amount of years is able to really accurately value the property. That accurate valuation is really important when you're selling a house, as we all know. So that's ultimately why we launched the online side of the business. It was as an addition to a already successful high street estate agency.
I think it gives you a lot of credence, doesn't it? Because, by being able to just talk about that, having the agency itself and being high fees and full, I don't want to say traditional, but that then enables you to actually really talk about doing the fixed fee agency stuff in a much more strategic sense, doesn't it? And I think that otherwise it's just people would accuse you, it's just a race to the bottom and everything else. If I understand it right, what I think you're doing really cleverly is you're not really willing to give up on a particular, what we can argue about how much traditional online would represent. It could be 10%, 20%, 30% of the market, but you really need to take an honest. If you're a traditional agent, you need to say, look, there is a demographic of the country that actually does want that style of business. It's perfectly reasonable, by the way, say we're not going to engage in that. But if you do want to go for that demographic, you need to have a suitable solution for that at the right price point and more importantly at the right cost point, isn't it, to make sure that can happen. And as long as you can marry those two together, and therein comes the knack, isn't it? And where I'm seeing comments flooding in, I think, from some of your do you call them franchisees, or are they members, or
partner agents?
Partner agents, and it's always very important to get that right, because otherwise they get shouted out of town. But I think that as long as you can position that and you do train your partner agents to be able to actually really get that across to the agents, then you stop that most concerning thing, which is the cannibalization, isn't it?
And that is really, really important, that we spend a lot of time. And as part of the onboarding process, we do go through the pitch, the training, because we're not teaching agents to suck eggs. We're teaching them to position their service differently. And the way that we view it is it's about giving your clients choice. We give them the choice of a range of different services. They choose the service that most suits their requirements. And ultimately, you're not going to lose a client who's going to pay you $3-5 grand to sell the house to the fixed fee service, because the two services, they're demonstrably different. And that's where we're unique in this market. We don't flower it up to be a service that it's not. Don't get me wrong, it's a fantastic service, but it's for the right type of person that wants that. I'm going to reiterate it again. They want that element of control.
And the danger again, isn't it, Mark, is where the salespeople or the business isn't clear in its own mind. It becomes too wishy-washy. It tries to blur, okay, it drops its pants and sells the full fee for the fixed fee. And, if you don't get the commission right with the salespeople, they will tend to deviate to just going for the route of least resistance, which might be the fixed All of these things, I like the fact you've really thought it through and positioned it well. I think, look, we're going to have to deal with a few of these because I've never seen so many comments come flying in so quickly in here. So we've got Paul Morris, who's just jumped in with one of your member agents. We're getting good feedback from our clients for being able to offer various options, including online as well as traditional. Whether they choose the online option or not, they appear to respect us better for appreciating they might not just a standard approach.
Yeah.
Nicola retorts to that as well. Nicola Taylor Cocaine. Same here, Paul. A lot of our 12 million clients?
Love2Move, L2M, Love2Move.
Oh my God, I thought that was 12 million.
Yeah, we wish.
You almost got a Simon Whale bump there unintentionally. Yeah, Simon Wales guaranteed you 12. Okay, Love2Move. That makes perfect sense. Thank you for not making me sound like a complete fuckwit. Seasoned buyers and sellers, and they love how easy it is. I think just a comment on that, isn't it? That demographic of people they do get tarred with the brush that they are just cheap and skinflints and everything else. But there is a growing demographic of people who like self-service. Who want for the immediacy and for the control. And again, that shopping trolley of options is one key thing that you are listening to that demographic about what they want, basically.
Absolutely. And by offering different services, it does, I know you talked about area of least resistance, but it has an awful lot of benefits for the agent full service business as well. So Paul there talked about people liking the choice, and it completely changes the close after evaluation as well, Simon. So sorry,
I just said how so? How does it change that?
So, of course, if you're only going in, you're pitching one service, it's a question of, do you want to use my service? It's almost yes or no. It's a closed question. And we always want to use open questions. So all close, and this is the way that we train all of our agents to close, as long as you've got the valuation right. It's so, how do you want to sell your home?
Yeah, of course. And you just walk them. They walk themselves through to the right solution, don't they? But the key thing is they're walking them through to the right solution within the wider family that you're obviously offering of options. Yeah, very clever.
Absolutely right. So by offering them a range of different services, they choose the one that best suits their requirements. But also, it helps our agents increase their fees. So by offering this range of different services, a lot of agents talk about really struggling to demonstrate value, and a lot of the consumers see all estate agents as doing the very same thing, listing properties on Rightmove, which we all know is, that's a very simple view on it. Whereas if you're able to offer different levels of service in many ways, like you do with your rentals, you have your rental management, you find a tenant only. If you're able to offer them different levels of service, you're able to demonstrate the value in those different levels of service. So if you're offering a full service estate agency, if you pitch that after you've pitched your Love2Move, you're able to demonstrate the difference between a fixed fee agent and a full service agent, and you're then able to demand a higher fee for your full service agency as well, which is where a lot of our agents have had a lot of success over the last 2 years.
I guess your member agents very rarely, don't get called out. If you've got that sort of vendor that annoys a lot of agents, I just want to know your fee before, and you try to do everything you can possibly to do.
Yeah.
Actually, with having both of these kickbacks, you could say, well, look, we've got everything from the fixed price going up to a full. We need to come to you and talk to you and understand it. You're very rarely going to get anyone knock you back unless they are literally looking for, a race to the bottom one, which frankly no one would want anyway, would you?
Yeah. Absolutely right. It gives you that you can properly say, because a lot of agents say, oh, it's bespoke or what have you, but you can properly say we have a range of different services. It starts at $895. It goes up to a percentage fee payable on completion. It depends which service you want, which service suits your requirements, and you get through the door with that. So and we do encourage our agents to talk about the range of options right at valuation booking call, Simon, because the thought with that is if you tell a client when they're booking a valuation that you've got a range of different services, then they might be less inclined to get the standard 3 valuations. And it also gives you that opportunity to stand out from the crowd, because we work exclusively with one agent in each area. And so we know that if our agents are telling people they'll have this range of services at valuation booking, they're unique in their industry, in their area. So there's no one else. And that valuation booking call is really important. It's that first point of contact. If you can be different at that call, it gives you, a greater opportunity at the instruction.
Excellent. Well, it is always a good sign of this strength of support for a supplier when they come on these, by how many of their existing clients also jump on. And we've obviously heard from a couple here, but we've also got some further from Dave Leake here. And he says, our vendors seem to like the options we offer. It's often a good in to offer a low-cost fee, which then can be converted to full service with a discount on our standard fee of the initial upfront fee, which is what we were obviously talking about earlier, which actually is the reverse way. Normally it goes, with when you haven't got that clear, you try and maybe almost oversell it or whatever, and then drop your pants to drop it down to the fixed fee option. So it's really interesting to see that's actually reversing that classic momentum, isn't it there? And then Jennifer Baines as well just mentions the point. I'm a self-employed agent and work alongside Love2Move and find their service to both vendor and agent exceptional. Nothing is lost in service as a result of lower fee. I think it's invaluable to have an online service in your toolkit as well as a bespoke, full-tailored traditional option. The fuller the range you can offer, the more opportunity for business and ensuring client satisfaction. So a win-win. I can't really say that more succinctly. And to be honest, she should be one of the she should be on here hosting the program with that sort of insightful comment. So that is really, really useful to hear that back. And then Nicola does comment that she said 12 million I wish. So,
one day.
Just to be clear, Nicola, that was a Simon Whale over promise, not Mark's. So, okay, so can we succinctly again just try and summarize what you feel as the main benefits to our agents are in just a really simple elevator pitch? What would you say to them is the reason they should come Love2Move?
So they should look at joining Love2Move if they want to add an additional revenue stream to the business, if they want to increase their fees, and if they want to have a part of the market that is growing, in my opinion. And that additional revenue stream, just to reiterate that first point, is a revenue stream that is paid up front, so can really assist with cash flow.
Yeah, which obviously is vital at any time, but never more so obviously in what could be a tighter market as we come into the end of the year and start of next year as well.
Absolutely. And I think, was it Paul or David that said on the comments, having that low entry fee will open more doors. So not every client that sees 895 and asks for a valuation will necessarily go on the market with Love2Move, but it will, by the very nature, give you more valuations. And we've seen quite a big increase in our valuations in the agency that the family still runs, Moving Works. What was Dave saying there? Sorry.
It was just, I think it was just reiterating that point, wasn't it? Was that when you said it's often a good in?
So that's it. The good in. And that's more valuations, and every estate agent that you speak to will want more valuations. And you can have Love2Move as that almost loss leader. It's not a loss leader because the work that our agents do, they can become genuinely profitable when selling houses for 895. But it's almost that loss leader, that lower entry point to get you through more doors. And that's what Dave's referring to there.
Excellent. And talk to us about sort of some of the agent success. Then you've had how long have you been going again, and how talk to us about some of those agents that have been have been getting good results with you.
So we launched Valentine's Day 2017. We're now working with, I think it's 42 offices up and down the country, and we can work anywhere in the country ultimately. And the agents that have the most success with us are the agents that do embrace it and talk to all of their clients and actually use the Love2Move service to push their fees up. So we have a number of agents who, when they came to us, were charging maybe just over 1%, have now, by simply being able to demonstrate the difference in value, they're able to increase their traditional fee. And then we've also had quite a good return post-COVID, as most estate agents have. But a number of our agents have really latched onto the fact that clients, whilst the time is really uncertain, want more control. So I think we paid I think we paid 12 grand. I think the most we paid an agent last quarter was 12 grand, paid in upfront fees. So we have a number of agents. We have some agents, don't get me wrong, who aren't overly engaged and aren't promoting it. And ultimately, if you don't promote it, it won't work because we've not got millions of pounds in advertising budget. But the agents that we work really well with are those agents that pitch it evaluation, they pitch it and they tell people that they've got this range of service, and they use Love2Move to increase their fees. And then they've got an increased fee, but they're also not missing out on any opportunities because they're picking up the clients that would have gone to, say, Purple Bricks or somebody of that nature.
And I can see that being a real benefit there, can't it? If you have got that staff member who's, maybe at that stage where they're keen to kind of flex their wings, they're just thinking about, what do we do next? This could really be a nice way for them to grow their own patch, grow their own business, and give themselves that opportunity to earn extra, but it's off their own back.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's great for expanding your patch. Having a low entry model is fantastic for expanding your patch, as any agent will know. But we're not talking about delivering full service and losing money on a low entry product. We're talking about 3 hours on average our agents take to value, photograph, and then send us the details. That's all they do. That's job done. £500 paid up front. So if you are talking about, like Jennifer said on the comments, if you are talking about the self-employed model, if you plug this into the self-employed model, it does really benefit the self-employed with some potential cash flow as well.
How vital is it to have I've seen a number of businesses that have tried to do this, but they have kept, they've kept the name very similar to the full service proposition. Is it really important in your mind that you do have Love2Move as the separate brand to stop that seepage, I suppose, between the two of them?
Absolutely. I believe really strongly that the brand is one of the things that differentiates the service. So there's a couple of agents who have tried it and failed at it, but we talked very early on in this broadcast about not cannibalizing the business, and it's why we did it under a different brand. We could very easily have done Moving Works online, but then people would come to expect the same level of service, and that's not what it's about. It's a different level of service, which, while still fantastic, is not full service agency. So by having it branded differently, by a number of things we do ensure that your sales team and your estate agency don't get involved in the ongoing transaction of a fixed fee client. So if a client walks into the office, your agents can talk to them about the general market. They can't talk to them about the performance of a Love2Move property. So that conversation might be 5 minutes rather than 10 to 15, because when we created this, we always had a real keen eye on profitability, and it was always about selling houses for £900 but doing it profitably. And I don't believe profit is a dirty word. I think that all agents need to have an eye on the profit, particularly where the market is probably going. We need to make sure that if we are selling houses cheaper, we've not got as many man hours involved.
I said for a long period of time, in one of my vaguely contentious periods, that online agents per se didn't really have the ability to affect traditional agency in the way that they kept talking about, that it was the end of days. What really was very clear was if that online agency, the pure online agency, was only ever 5, 6, 7%, how can that realistically, cause the doom that many agents were talking about? The problem, as far as I could see it, was actually that it was then 20% or 30% of agents that dropped their prices to compete. And as you said, they forgot that most important point there about the profitability, because they were trying to take the deals that the public wanted at the price, but offering a service that couldn't sustain itself over a period of time. And that was the whole sort of mess that we ended up in, which did take a while. You mentioned it yourself. Took a while for traditional agency, whatever that is, to explain the value that they actually delivered. And I think we've got to that position now, actually, where the public is more self-aware. Certainly some of the onliners did take advantage, didn't they? Almost pretending it was a perfect new world. And actually everyone's kind of a little bit older, a little bit wiser now, aren't they?
Yeah, I completely agree that there was two parts of the problem, wasn't there? There was the online agents really publicising fees, and estate agents hate publicising the fees because they want to negotiate in the front room. So there was the online agents, and then there was the cheap high street competitors, as you say, who were willing just to drop the pants on fees. And this service for agents is fantastic if you're coming up against, let's say, a new upstart, or even if you've always had a low fee competitor. You can compete with them on price, but you don't compete with them on service. This has never been about delivering full service for £900. As I say, the parts that we've automated are between instruction and offer stage, so the buyer takes control of that. Some buyers love that. It also really allows you to say, if you're sat in a front room and they say, well, so and so down the road will do it for £1,000, you say that's absolutely fine. If fee's important to you, we've got our Love2Move service that you can do. But there is no estate agent that can offer you the full service, as I just explained, where you get all of the viewings, regular feedback, client contact, all of that are the best parts of full service. There's no agent that can do full service for £1,000.
So it sounds more genuine, doesn't it? Because otherwise, why would we not have done that?
Absolutely right.
The fact that we've lived it, breathed it, tested it ourselves, was we know that's how it is. It's going to sound far more believable than other people that don't have that option in the kit bag, which is when, of course, they're going to sound negative, and they will go negative, won't they? And actually, that's when you can set up loads of little depth charges there. Look, this is probably what they'll say, and actually, we know that's not the case because of X, Y, Z, or actually say they are absolutely right. But in that case, you then need to be looking at the moving works proposition, don't you, to make that work. So yeah, very, very clever there. And I think, again, with something like this where you are going to be so intrinsically tied with a business like yours, because you will become an advisory kind of capacity, we always say at Kerfuffle, look, do your homework on this. You've heard a load of the people talking today, just in Facebook. It's really good of them to get feedback, but also have a look at the holding page we've got for you on Kerfuffle. It's replete with 5-star reviews, again going into more detail and talking about it. Again, Nicola, who was just on earlier, actually on the actual website itself, went to say a brilliant family company, an independent estate agent. Their team is so helpful. This is a fantastic service for independent agents to offer another method of selling without the hassle of software development, marketing, and so on. The team help you with all sorts, from your social media and marketing to agent development and access to the UK-wide agent network. It's been absolutely invaluable for us since we joined in 2017. That's from Nicola Taylor-Cockania. That's really good to hear, because again, and I'm glad, I actually didn't know that was what she said just before I said that bit before, but it was, that you are working hand in glove with them on a consultative basis, is what she's just reiterated there again, hasn't she?
That's exactly it. We never really sort of set out to have an idea sharing forum that we've developed within our network, but I think because we offer the exclusivity, and because we now speak to so many agents up and down the country, we are able to pass best practice within the network. So Nikki there runs a small family-run independent estate agency in Jacksdale, and when we could have meetings here, they would come over here and they would talk to the likes of Paul and David, who were on talking earlier, and they would say, well, we had that problem last year, we solved it by doing this. And we're also starting to develop a bit of buying power within having a network. So that's a part of this, growing this business, that I really enjoy, getting the agents around the table, sharing best practice, and giving value to their full service business as well. I think, full service estate agency, as you know, I run the podcast, and that's all about full service agency getting high fees. I'm really passionate that there is a place for high fees and full service agency, and that will be the majority of the market. But I think if you're not offering a fixed fee service for those more cost conscious clients, and you're not offering your clients choice, I believe that you're missing the trick.
Absolutely. And look, if you need any help with that buying collective, there is a well-known website starting with K as well. So just have a look at them, and they might be able to help you out.
I'm not trying to put you out of business, Simon. I'm not quite that brave.
We'll work together, hand in glove. Don't worry. Michelle just goes on to say, good agents are open to seeing the changes and adapting to their clients' needs and wants. Sounds a good business. Nice to have the feedback there. Georgina, clients should always be offered choice. I think many people would would obviously echo that. Paul
Yes.
comes back. The key is that we supply excellent service regardless of the option that they choose.
Absolutely.
And he just reiterates the Love2Move option isn't just a bolt-on service bought out of desperation. There, I don't know Paul's background, whether he's come from one of the corporates that has actually done that, but actually we all know some of those corporates down the high street that clearly have actually had that experience, haven't they? And I think again has left the public a little bit tainted.
I think some of the corporates that did it had a bit of a branding problem. Simon, you talked about it before. If you're going to charge different prices for similar services, it's going to look different, feel different. So the end consumer understands the difference between those two services. So some of those corporates got that very wrong, I think, a couple of years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, Dave actually jumps in with that. We've managed to increase our average fee from just under 1,900 to almost 2,500 over the last 18 months, thanks to be able to. That is absolutely exceptional, isn't it? To be able to actually see those statistics in detail like that. That's really impressive.
That's really rewarding that he's able to share those figures, and those figures as well, Simon, are in an area in Yorkshire called Goole. I don't know whether you've ever been to Goole,
yeah.
But pretty low property prices. So David, as we teach all of our agents, he will pitch Love2Move first, and so that's the service for 895, and then our full service, you get all of these extra benefits, and that's 2%. And that's how he's been able to push that. He's, a really good advocate of using Love2Move to increase his traditional agency fees, because if you pitch it first as the more basic service, when you then pitch your full service, you can really demonstrate that value.
Cool. And Mark, how does it work in practice then? So, I mean, we understand, we've seen a lot of the benefits here. Certainly, strategically, I can see the advantage to it. I can see the pitch working so well with the public. So I'm kind of seeing ticks along the way here. But in terms of actually an agent out there thinking, well, this is quite a big step for me. What is the onboarding process? How long does it take them to get going with yourselves?
So we always try to make it as easy as possible to do business with us. I know agents are running around pretty mad at the moment. So it's the onboarding process is very simple. We could probably do the onboarding process within 2 weeks if we had an agent who returned the paperwork really quickly. But we produce a number of marketing assets so that they're able to launch their fixed fee service and they're able to start offering their clients choice. So we just need some marketing assets from them, some logos, and there's a bit of paperwork to complete. And we will then just launch them on our website. We will do training, whether that's in person or online at the moment. And then they're free to start talking about the range of different services. I say within 2 weeks, it's a very easy process to start, because we are adding to their offering. We're not reinventing the wheel here. We're just talking to them about amending the pitch, and the service and the setup is all done here by our team that you can probably see in the background there wandering around.
Yeah, good to see him working. Yeah. Okay. And do you have a certain profile of agent this works best for? I guess you mentioned earlier, look, it can't be one that's just going to put this on, expected to work in the background. You need to have a firm belief and listen to you about how it works best.
Yeah, absolutely. Any agent that works with us, it's about making sure that the whole team are behind it. So we've worked well with one office family independents. We've worked well with offices of companies with 4 or 5 offices. It's not necessarily a specific profile of agent that we look for, but more, sitting down, talking to them, understanding why they want to offer the service, and making sure that their beliefs and values kind of align with our own. Because we won't work with someone if they say things like, we won't tell anyone about it. There's no point. It's a waste of everyone's time. We work with agents who want to embrace it, offer it within their area, and start expanding the business and add that additional revenue stream.
Got you. And Paul jumps in as well, just I think to step up to the plate as well in terms of more facts and benefits here. He says, we managed to increase our market share and increase our traditional commission rate since adding the Love2Move option to our service. Again, this is just lovely to hear that, it's not the kind of whack-a-mole approach sometimes you get with business where, you know, you introduce the fixed fee element and then the traditional agency fee comes down. You know, that actually the two support each other. I think most people would find surprising, but having talked to you today, it's quite clear why that would be. Why would be the case? You're making things transparent, and by making things transparent, you can put a value on them that you potentially couldn't have or wouldn't have been able to do before.
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing, that before people hear what we've talked about today, before people hear, you know, what we're about as a business, I think that can sometimes be a bit of a misconception. But we're talking, people say, oh, we talk about the race to the bottom on fees, and I view it that we've stepped out of the race to the bottom, and as you say, offer a range of services, completely transparent, and we pass it over to the client to then make the decision. They pick the service that most suits them, and that leads to more business. So Paul talked about more market share. So more market share, increased fees, more valuations. At Moving Works, we increased our valuations by 31% the first 2 years of offering this. Instructions by 38%. So we know that it works because we can see the team downstairs delivering it, and we're getting constant feedback from all of our agents. How this is pitched is just, I suppose, completely different to, I think, anything else in the industry.
It does sound, yeah, it does sound. I was going to say quite unique, but you either are unique or not, aren't you? But it's certainly, I'm not seeing too many other elements there. Is there a similarity between you and UMove? Do you think? I mean, they strike me as being a. But then I suppose but then they're just focused on one angle, aren't they? They're focused on just really the online proposition, so they miss out on that. You know, the traditional angle of being able to have both things in the kit bag.
I've never really considered UMove as offering a similar service, because I think you're right. I think they're more one way rather than both. Obviously, we don't own the businesses that have both services, but we help deliver the fixed fee side of it. Can we perhaps just talk, Simon, about what is involved for agents, what they need to do for?
I think that'd be really useful. Yeah, I mean, what do they have to do essentially to get involved to make it work?
So we've talked about pitch. I'm not going to reiterate sort of the pitch side of things, but from a transaction point of view, as I say, we tried to make it as easy as possible to do business with us, both with onboarding and submitting business. So all that we ask our partner estate agents to do is value a property, which they may or may not have already been doing, value the property, take the photos, do the room measurements, and once they've had those one or two appointments, they send that information over to us, and their job's done at that point. They get £500 paid up front for probably on average 3 hours work. And then we do the rest of the service, which is we do all the AML checks, we do the upload to Rightmove and Zoopla, speak to the client, get the brochure approved. Once it's online, that's where our automated platform kicks in, and buyers and sellers communicate directly through that. And then we will get back involved at offer stage. So we do qualify the offers, obviously, and we run money laundering checks on the purchasers, and then start the sales chasing process as well. So we believe that clients get the expertise when they need it most, pre-marketing with the local estate agent, offer qualification with us and the team here.
Okay, yeah, that's so very comprehensive. But again, for each point, you're supporting them all the way through. I was going to ask you, obviously, what are the support you give agents? And actually, Dave Leake had jumped in back in again and said, obviously, pre-COVID, when you were able to, you were provided excellent partner meetings with recognised agency trainers. It can be a lonely world being an independent agent. These meetings were excellent and always offered business improvement ideas. I suppose that's a classic case, again, when you were talking about why you're unique, is, again, you're putting your money where your mouth is. If you're investing in trainers, best practice and excellence there, you know, you wouldn't have to do that, again, if it was just a race to the bottom environment, would it?
Yeah, absolutely. It's about... Our opinion has always been, if we can improve the agents we work with, we can upskill and grow their market share as part of that growth. If they grow their market share by 20%, maybe 2% will be online, or whatever figure it is. We could debate that all day, but as long as they're improving and moving forward, we know that they're going to be a good partner for us, because the fixed fee, if presented correctly, will form a part of that market share. And I think it's quite nice when you have got the range of services, and you're improving your business, when you go in and you pitch it confidently, you're almost offering the client these two services. They pick the one that's best for them. You can almost discount any competitors if you deliver it correctly. So yeah, we're all about getting our agents, to the top of the game if we possibly can help.
How important is kind of pre-market appraisal, the pre-appraisal work, to get in your own mind and your member agent's mind which way they're going to steer? Does it really help to be able to find out which you think they are, so that you can then position it, or can you still be, I don't want to say loose, but let's face it, sometimes we can go, we go into a market appraisals without having done the due diligence and work we should have done, but being able to bounce around gives you that ability to do it. How much work do you advise, though, in terms of qualifying people pre-appraisal?
That's a great question. So one of the things that we do when we work through with our partner agents is I always look at that pre-appraisal, that valuation booking. What is your process in the office? What do you go through? I would ask you these sorts of questions. One of those questions I alluded to before is, how are you thinking of selling? And that, most people say, well, what do you mean? And that gives you that mini pitch opportunity, that the opportunity to be completely different to the other two agents that they're talking about. And I think that's important from standing out. I think that helps you get the instruction once they've made the decision. But I don't think actually it's important in assuming a client is going to go one of two ways. I made this mistake myself, actually, when we first launched the business. I assumed that Love2Move would just be for a certain type of client, and the person that I pitched to wasn't that type of client. I didn't pitch, and they went on with Purple Bricks. And I kicked myself for that. And it taught me a very valuable lesson, that you can't put people into boxes. When you have, a range of services, you talk about the range of services to everyone. Okay, you will focus more on a particular range of service depending on the client and depending on the buying signals that you get. But if you just assume that somebody is going to pay you £5,000 to pay the house because you think they should, then there's an opportunity that you will miss business there. So I think the pre-valuation part is important, and it's important to gather that information. But I would still go through at valuation the same sort of process I would do, no matter what they said, because it's not only the person that you're talking to either. It might be the people that they know. It might be the fact that their son or daughter's got a property to sell in the future. So it's all about making sure that you cover all bases with everyone. But I think it does start at the valuation booking thing. As I say, that's first impressions for me.
Yeah, and do you find that your member agents are they as capable? Is it easier pitch trying to bounce somebody from a potential vendor who's keen looking at an online proposition with a Purple Bricks or whoever else, as it is for somebody who's who's looking at a traditional? Do you find that does it work both ways, basically, by having in the kit bag for both, that it also has the just as much an attraction factor for those people too?
Yeah, of course it does, because what we're saying is we've got a fixed fee service. For the fixed fee service, you're in control of that process. If you're not comfortable being in control, we need to be in control, and that's going to cost you more. So you're absolutely right. It works both ways. We have some clients that approach us that think Love2Move is going to be the service that they want. That's that lower price point opening more doors, and they don't always want that element of control. And by explaining that this is what's involved in a fixed fee agent, you're also saying that, well, if you're going on with another fixed fee agent, you're going to have that element of control. So instead, it's the full service agency. And then we do have some clients that contact the full service agency, and when they realize that they offer this service, then they say, well, actually, we were seriously considering Purple Bricks, so we'll give you a try. Because what a lot of our agents offer, which makes us unique in this field, is they offer the ability to convert the listing as well. So if a property's on the market with Love2Move, if we're not successful in achieving a sale in a certain amount of time, it might be 4, it might be 8 weeks, a lot of our member agents will convert them to their full service agency and a more proactive marketing approach. The big benefit for the client is they don't lose all of the $895 they've already paid. They'll normally get a credit off the agent's fee at the back end. So it's if you are coming up against Purple Bricks Yopa, any other online agent, this is a real good USP to say, if you want to go online, great, try it. If it doesn't work, we're here to convert you. You won't have lost that upfront money.
Yeah, have the right tool for the job to be able to compete with those guys. And Mark, is it for lettings as well as sales? Do you offer advice on that, or is it primarily sales?
It's just a sales platform.
Okay, cool. And in that, do you provide? I think Nicola mentioned earlier. Do they get everything they need to? For example, do you provide them with their own CRM system, or do you have CRM systems that you recommend they work with? How does that side of things work?
I knew you'd talk about CRM, Simon.
I'm a boring train spotter in terms of that.
So we don't need them to change any software or anything like that. By the very nature of what we do, we're an addition to their service. So we work with anyone on any software, and they just provide us the details for the properties that they valued. Really simple, really straightforward.
Well, that's really good, isn't it? So you're not talking people making wholesale changes to the, looking, obviously that can be complex. So that's an important point there. And Mark, I did promise you that, Kerfuffle's unparalleled global audience was a key factor. I'm hoping your Cantonese is as good as mine there. No doubt. That's your first franchisee in the probably the Hutong province. So it's probably something absolutely filthy, and I shouldn't have put it up there. But anyway,
that actually, my Cantonese is quite good, actually, Simon. That says I'm not sure why every estate agent in the country isn't offering Love2Move.
There you are. You heard it here first in terms of that there. Okay. I think that's really, really good. Again, Paul just comes back just to reiterate the point as well. The extra benefit for us is that for a client who chooses the online route and for whatever reason it doesn't work, simply upscale traditional and we'll offset the fee, just like you were saying. So they have already paid against the full fee. You don't get that with the other onliners. It's a really good point. So my takeaway points from this then, just looking at my notes here in terms of there is, being able to add a fixed fee service to your business is going to clearly help you win, get more valuations, more instructions, just on an obvious basis. You spoke about those. What was the evaluations increased by? Was it 32, 33%?
31% for valuations, 38% for instructions.
Wow. So works hand in glove with essentially the traditional arm in terms of there. So yeah, adding an additional revenue stream, increasing your fee. And I think the key one for me is that ability to be the first and the second agent is perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely great. So you've got we're obviously all getting excited. It's AOA Masters, the traditional, obviously the biggest show of all there. And for our wonderful kerfufflers and people attending, you've got a bit of a deal on the table, haven't you, for us? Do you want to just elaborate in terms of that, Mark?
Yeah, absolutely. So if anyone is brave enough to go into the Kerfuffle booth tomorrow at the AOA Masters, we will offer a discount on our joining fee. So the only fee that agents have to pay us is a joining fee to get marketing and what have you set up. That's normally £1,000. We're going to discount it to £500 for your agents at the AOA Masters tomorrow.
Excellent, thank you. And just on an ongoing basis, what is the cost structure that they would expect somebody would expect to pay? Is it dependent on loads of factors? Is there a standard fee? How does it work?
So we don't charge monthly fees. We just take a cut of the fee that the client pays to market their property. So the client pays £895 inclusive of that to market the property. We pay £500 including VAT of that to the agents. We take the balance of £395. We don't have any ongoing monthly fees for our most basic service, and we work with agents. They do have to have minimum performance within that, because obviously if we're not taking monthly fees, we don't want to work with agents who just take it so a competitor doesn't. So we think it's reasonable to expect an agent to do 2 Love2Move instructions per office a month.
Excellent. And you're looking all around the country at the moment for this? Anyone watching any particular areas you're looking for to target, or literally just drop you a line and you'll check the postcode, obviously, situation at the moment?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we work on a postcode basis with exclusivity. So if we've got an agent in the area, we won't be able to do it. But yeah, please get in contact if you've got a particular postcode that you're looking at. We think it works, all over the country. It doesn't have to be a specific area. It's more the type of agent that we're looking to work with. And then when we're in lockdown, we did also expand over into Northern Ireland as well. So we are able to work with Northern Irish agents as well.
Excellent. So it works with all the portals and everything over there. They've got a few different ones, haven't they? Excellent. That's really, really good. So I mean, I think just everyone should drop you a line if they've been thinking about this or have been worried, might have seen, obviously, as we said, some of the corporates or indeed just other agents not think this through properly. It seems very clear to me, and that is what's brilliant about this. You've got a very clear proposition in what actually traditionally has been a bit of a murky area. That's really, 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 really positive, and I think the market will respond in kind to that. And of course, by the looks of it, you've got those member agents that have been talking here today who are clear in their mind. That flows all the way through, doesn't it? So great brand, by the way. Love the brand. I think it's exceptional. Okay, Mark. Well, great. Look, by all means, get everyone dropping down to our booth, and we'll pass that on. Or please go to the landing page. There's a contact us button, or reach out to Mark direct, and obviously just let him know you're the wonderful pink kerfuffler, and he'll help out with your inquiries. Sounds like we should get these guys on for a round table panel show in a few weeks or months, Mark, as well, and questions to them as well. So you'll no doubt owe them a few points.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you very much, Simon. I appreciate your time today.
No, great. Thank you very much. We'll stay in touch. That's great. Cheers.